we're back.
Backy black, because our Intel Arc card, I think, poo-pooed the bed.
Yeah, so this is a good segue, loss of stream, to talking about the B580. We have been testing the Intel Arc B580, and it's been a mixed bag, and we believe that may have just froze our computer up. So we had to reboot and pull out the card and everything. So apologies for that, but we're back. Anyway, the EU, or Finnish, Austrian,
yeah.
still catching back to where we're at. Yeah, the Austrian government is switching from Microsoft Office to LibreOffice. We'll get more into the Intel Arc B580 in a little bit, so do stick around. All right, Jack, so moving on. We have got, you ready to get into our main segment?
Why is everything so expensive?
Why are cars so expensive?
Yes, it's kind of been one of those subjects, a little different than what we usually do, but we're both into cars. And it's funny, one of the things that had been causing issues, in my opinion, with cars is how much tech is in them, how many computers are in them. And what are your thoughts? Why do you think cars have gotten so expensive? But then you also are seeing these videos where dealers aren't able to sell stuff. So what's going on there? How are they getting more expensive if no one's buying them?
Simple answer, credit. When you can buy everything on credit and your monthly cost only goes up by $50 a month and you get all these nice extra features, you're going to spend the extra $50 a month to get all those nice extra features. But then you realize in the end that it's actually going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars more. And I don't think anybody's freaking out about that because they're only ever seeing $50 a month.
Yeah.
When you actually have to buy things with your hard-earned cash in the moment, you think a lot more about what you're buying. Whereas with everything being on longer and longer loan terms and, just being able to buy things on credit in general makes you feel a lot more like you can just buy things.
Yeah.
And therefore, the auto manufacturers are going to want to sell those extra things. And they're going to make more and more premium vehicles, add more premium options and stuff like that, because nobody's going to go, I can't afford this because I don't have the money. They're going to be like, all right, well, that's an extra $50 on my credit. That's my take.
Okay.
What's yours?
I mean, that's very interesting. I guess in a way, that's kind of goes with what I was saying, where the auto market has shifted from selling to majority, which I think is something the U.S. automakers have always done, is try to sell to a minority who spends a lot more than the majority who just want a vehicle. Going for the, I don't know, I can't remember the financial term for that. But I think we've really seen it get bad as of recently when you have F-150s and vehicles like that. Like the F-150 Lightning was supposed to be $50,000. Then it was like 60, then 70, then 80.
Yeah.
And now you can't find them for like $100,000. And it's like, where does it end?
Now, I will say my answer was overly simplified in only one piece of the puzzle. I do think it is a major piece. I think when you are able to lump everything into monthly payments, it makes things seem cheaper, even though they're definitely not. But another big piece of that is the dealerships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dealerships have undoubtedly, I think it really started being shown once Tesla did their basically direct-to-consumer approach, because people were like, don't have to deal with the hassle, because that's what it was. And if you think about it, it shouldn't be that way. Dealing with the company itself should be a problem. Dealing with a third party who's trying to sell you on stuff and makes their money off of that should be a very pleasant experience, but it is not.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's shaking up the market a little bit as well, because people, they don't want to deal with it.
And the dealerships want you to buy the premium floor mats. They want you to add on window tint.
Oh, and there's dealer adjustment fees.
Yes.
Like $5,000. It just says dealer adjustment fees. There's no explanation on what that is.
It literally is, we want more money. That's all it is.
So I guess this brings into question, a lot of people have brought this up. What's the solution to this problem? What's weird, of course.
I have a solution, son.
What is it, George Bush?
That wasn't me trying to do George Bush, but hey.
Okay.
But I was trying to do Grandpa. All right, I got my solution. We don't make cars like we used to. I remember we used to just crank the window down by hand, and you didn't need anything fancy. We didn't even need air conditioning back in the day. Just take cars back to that.
Now watch this swing. Anyway, see, that's what you hear commonly a lot, and I guess one of the things that...
I do hear that a lot. That's why I'm making the joke.
I understand. I completely understand. But I guess the question is, what is a realistic solution if the market is not, like, it's this weird thing where manufacturers are doing their own thing, consumers are doing their own thing. For people who want to buy an affordable vehicle, not really an SUV, or a compact, because compacts have basically gone extinct, what's the solution to that? And...
Yeah, and that's, I think, another, you started touching on one interesting thing, is like everything's going SUV. And I think that's part of the problem as well. Everything's going SUV and truck. There's a lot more sheet metal, weight, shipping cost, all of these things that go into an SUV versus a car. You'd think that making a car would just be way cheaper. But then there's also, government incentive differences, and I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just one simple, easy answer. I will say this. I think that we could make them a lot cheaper. Look at the Maverick as example. If we did a lot more direct to consumer and you weren't dealing with dealer markup.
Yeah, I think that I think that would help. But one of the things that is interesting, of course, in talking about this, and this is more of an explanatory piece, is that the reason, despite fuel costs, expenses, just everything, inflation, whatever it is, that you've seen the disappearance of smaller vehicles is because the incentive to make larger vehicles is really big for manufacturers, because the way it's set up is that if you make larger vehicles, they don't have to be as fuel efficient. So the more vehicles you have in your fleet that are bigger, you don't have to pay as many penalties. Because on a smaller vehicle that is not as efficient, you have to pay penalties on it. And the funny thing about this is this was designed to make manufacturers conscious of what they're doing and make smaller vehicles, but they just figured out, if we just make bigger vehicles, we don't have to worry about it. And I feel like this is obviously talking about in regards to like the compact market, really just small vehicles in particular, but I feel like that this SUV-ification, I guess you could call it, has really spread to a lot of things, including not like sports cars, which that was something we were researching, and we found some interesting data on that.
Yeah, I need to probably be careful here.
Are we pushing our speed?
Well, we're at 10% CPU on the stream.
No, I meant we're still uploading something, aren't we? It's a little crunchy. We're uploading on 10 megabits, or 30 megabits.
All right. So anyway, one of the interesting things we found. So like, the answer could be make cooler cars. We've made cool cars, and people don't buy them. But that's also, I don't think, because people don't want to buy them. It's because people can't buy them because they're too expensive. And so we started looking at sales numbers of certain vehicles, and in particular, we started off with the Camaro. And according to GM Authority, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's go to the United States. All right. So when Camaro relaunched in 2010 with the 5th gen Camaro, you saw a total of the year, let me see, make sure that's visible, around 81,000 units sold. And then the next year, there was even more. It was 88,000 units sold. And it continued on until 2014 in the 80s, very strong in the 80s, until we hit 2015, and you saw it get into the 7,000s. And what you can see here is just clearly more and more and more decline on vehicle numbers. I should have added this up. I would like to know exactly how much all of this is.
It's a pretty good run, but it's quite surprising, the drop-off. I mean, you could sort of tell right from 2019 to 2020, I see COVID, and then beyond that, it really does drop off.
To where in 2024, they only sold 5,900 Camaros.
Yeah, which is wild, especially compared to like what they've been selling before.
And then old stock, because they stopped making it in 2024, still being sold this year. But like that is a dramatic drop off. And you'd think that being the last year, you'd see a little spike there. Everybody would be like, oh, this is my last year to buy a new Camaro. I need to go get one. But I think there's something to be said too about the used market causing some of this because vehicles are made so well now that I would confidently go buy a 15-year-old Camaro and be okay. I don't know if you would say the same, say in, I don't know, 1980.
Yeah, I think your 80s you're pushing at, especially just because you're fighting against parts availability at that point. But no, definitely. There's also the other graph that I thought was interesting, just talking about. I think this is just referring to more of coupes.
On Ford Authority, we're looking at sport coupes here.
Yeah.
Mainstream two-door sport coupes, and we got the Ford Mustang, the Dodge Challenger, the Camaro, the Charger EV, the Toyota 86, the Mazda MX-5, and the Subaru BRZ. So a nice wide range of vehicles. And this is Q2 2024. Then we have Q2 2025. Look at that difference in total number sold. Is this an image? I don't think it is. But look at that number of total units sold. 35,000 in Q2 2024, which is already probably pretty low. Or actually, it is pretty low across all of these brands. But then you get to 2025, and that is almost half. Well, that's 2/3.
That's 2/3, and then if you look at the year-to-date, I believe, you can tell that, I mean, obviously there's a couple more months left of the year, but that's not a lot of time to really catch up.
Yeah, and so that just shows, I mean, you can understand why the penny pinchers are going to sit there and go, well, we got to stop making these two-door coupes because nobody's buying them like they were. And that brings less incentive. So, it'd be nice to be able to say, well, go out and buy two-door coupes so we can make sure cars stay alive. But then they're also jacking up the prices because supply and demand. And
well, also simply the market that's buying these is, like, especially, the disappearance of manual, stuff like that. I think in a way, the market doesn't support it because they're buying used vehicles, which is not a bad thing. But the people who are in that really performance, I guess, sector, not really a performance, just enjoy driving to the point they want to get a driver's car. They're focusing on their own vehicles, they're focusing on older vehicles, and I think just because also a lot of the prices of newer vehicles, I mean, heck, if you wait a couple years, you can get essentially $5,000-$10,000 off.
Yeah.
And so I think
depreciation is ridiculous right now.
I think it's an interesting thing, of course, and this is, because you have less coupes and sedans, more people, you have basically the only option left is crossovers and SUVs, which I saw a graph the other day.
It's so sad. I love cars.
It is a disappointment because I saw a graph the other day, I think, of all crossovers, and when you really look at them on a side-by-side view, you might be able to tell a couple, like, okay, that's a Volvo, but that's it. Like, there's only, like, a handful that have an actual definitive...
Even Ferrari and Mazda.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only a handful that have an actual definitive change to the shape.
Well, in the defense of the designers, how do you make an SUV appealing? I cannot name one.
Well, I think the biggest crime is the crossovers, because crossovers fit this. I get why people buy them because they have the space of a small SUV, and if you're elderly and hefty, they're easy to get into, and so it's the best of both worlds. Because also, who loves a hatch rather than a trunk? But it also is a very boring car.
Yeah,
and
it's a point A to point B vehicle.
Yeah, but all this is it brings us to, what is the solution to this? Like, what is the solution to rising car prices? Maybe even the fact that you have more cars just being bland and they're going more to crossovers. What's the solution?
Increased competition.
Which is perfect segue to what I was going to mention, because there is one of the things. This is not the ultimate solution. This is just something I saw on YouTube and thought was very neat because it folds to the topic. There's a YouTuber by the name, I've forgotten his name, and
I'm trying to pull it up.
I thought it was up already. Well, anyway, I've watched a few of his videos before, kept up loosely, but he bought a auto factory in Detroit. There's actually like I think a male. It had been converted several times, but I think it was originally an auto factory. Andy Dorsey. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I probably butchered it.
Diderossi.
Diderossi. And what he's doing is he's basically making a kit car company, because kit cars don't have to, there's a lot less safety regulation stuff with those. Now, he's not going to change the market. He's doing low production number, low, I think he's trying to do it as cheap as possible, but this is not going to be like some kind of revolution of stuff. It's just going to be low numbers of these cars. However, kind of remind me of Slate, how they're doing this thing where they can customize. I think they're trying to make it open source, I believe. And I think it's a really neat idea. It's not a solution to the problem, obviously, but I think that it's a good step in the right way and could open the doors for people, you know, with how cars are getting so technologically advanced. There's gonna get, and also with the right to repair, I think even becoming more of an issue with that, because there's certain components of cars now they can't fix, like mechanics cannot fix because they're electronically locked down.
Mm-hmm.
That people are gonna want to have more, I'm not saying they're gonna hack their car. Well, actually, no, I am saying that. There's going to be a larger majority of people who are going to want to have control of their vehicle, whether, you know, hacking, like, I mean, seriously, it's weird to say you're hacking your car, but people are going to want vehicles like this because they want more control of that, and that's not selling your data 24/7.
Yeah. You think that, like, the requirement of, like, a Microsoft account is a lot, or, I don't know, you can think of a bunch of other examples. Google's not very good with Android on this stuff. Now do that with your car.
Yeah, and I mean,
GPS positioning constantly on your car.
well, also the fact that, okay, there was a guy, actually, there was a story where his insurance premiums were going up, and he couldn't figure out why. And what was happening is his car, every time he'd park it, was detecting his cat run across the front. The sensor thought that it was like a pedestrian. It thought that he was like almost hitting pedestrians, and so it sent that data to, or the car company sold it to his insurance, and the insurance raised his premium. And that's something that really adds up after a while. And obviously, I think Tesla does something similar, where if you get their insurance through Tesla, they track how you drive, and they'll raise it or lower it accordingly.
That's crazy.
And I think that obviously this is not a solution to making things super cheap, but it helps, and it also brings back that level of control. Kind of like how we talked about with the Slate truck. Obviously, that's a little bit different. That's going on a more larger scale, and yes, it is being manufactured by Amazon. But
well, it's not being manufactured by Amazon. It is independent, but it is heavily funded by Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, so, well, I wouldn't be surprised if you'd be able to buy one on Amazon. That'd be the next.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean,
I'm sure.
buying cars on Amazon would be the next big thing. I have no doubt.
Well, and who is it that started? Is it Hyundai has a deal with Amazon where you can buy?
They do. It's a little weird. Like, it's not like you can go to Amazon and look up a Hyundai. I've tried that before. But
Really?
there's...
I've looked it up.
Really? Okay, well, from what I looked, it wasn't like you can just part it out. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'd be interested to see this.
Well, it may have been a storefront that I saw.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's so weird.
You want to buy a car? Just find it on Amazon. That's pretty good.
Wild.
But, yeah, Amazon Autos. It's even a whole section. Let me see. Is there? Let's just.
Oh, so yeah, it's
yeah, it looks like it's pretty much just Hyundai right now.
Okay.
But I think direct to consumer is going to become a much bigger thing. I think that we're going to, like, Ford is coming out with their whole new EV platform that's supposed to be revolutionary. Of course, it's like, we're not really going to tell you what it is. I think we're going to see a lot more control from the manufacturers and stuff themselves. And that might be good. Might be good to a degree. But I don't know. I think we're so upset that fun cars are dying. There will be a market for a long time. I think this kind of brings back another question of, like, where is car culture?
Yeah, and also that,
is there car culture?
Well, here's the thing. The car culture that you see is not the one you like. There was an event recently, I think in, is there Nashville, Tennessee?
I think I know what you're about to talk about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about, like, the block party stuff?
Well, I can't remember the name, but it had a weird name. You should look that up. That dude on blue covered it. But basically, there's this place known for its car culture. Actually, I think it was in Georgia. I may be wrong. Known for its car culture. And, well, they had the cops called. It basically turned to, would you say, like a little miniature riot. And the problem is that's what most people see when they think of car culture. Because
Yeah.
okay, slammed enough. That's it. In Gatlinburg, okay, slammed enough. This is like one of the biggest things that's happened.
So
And of course,
Tennessee.
the town who previously was very welcome to car people, I think to this, not to cars altogether, car people, but to this event, they said, do not come back. And it's kind of a shame because one of the things he highlights in the video is how the culture has changed because of social media. You know, you used to have, you could say more underground meets, which was actually underground. You had to know someone, but now because of clout chasers, it's changed. And so people are trying to go for the loudest, most annoying builds, and thus, you know, you have stuff that happens like this.
And this is known as something. What is it called where basically they're trying to shut down streets and they're trying to...
Oh, takeovers?
Takeovers.
It's not well, this is not actually a takeover. This was an event that
Really?
just got out of hand. So this is actually different from this. It was an organized event. There was actually this place, a gas station that really liked having them there, but they just said, hey, here's a few rules, you know, don't violate the rules. They did, and they got kicked out.
This needs to end. I mean, if you want to ruin it for everybody, and quite frankly, I don't think a lot of you people who are involved with this kind of stuff care. That's part of the problem. You're not sitting there thinking about the consequences for all of us other car people who want to be able to do these things responsibly and respectfully to our environments. I mean, a lot of times, this is even your own hometown.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and like, what kind of a jerk do you have to be to try to cause such a problem where it's going to ruin it for everybody? Because then before you know it, it's going to be laws for everybody who's trying to do things the right way, and you can't even have... I mean, heck, we've seen, you know, gas lawnmowers outlawed in California. You don't think they're going to try to outlaw just cars in general? It has to be an SUV or something like that because that's where the trouble comes from?
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily that, but I could definitely see anything modified being a big red flag. I mean, that in certain areas is already kind of an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a whole thing with the, I can't remember what car it had, the stock exhaust was, I think it was California, I'm pretty sure. But the stock exhaust.
Oh, the Hyundai Elantra.
Hyundai Elantra, that's it.
Yeah.
They said it was too loud, but it's like that's how it comes stock.
Yeah.
Like that's manufacturer provided.
From a Hyundai.
From a Hyundai, yeah. That's a pretty cool car though. But the problem is that everything like this, when you hear about, I guess, car culture, it's kind of the most you hear about it is this chaos in the streets, takeovers. No one wants to go to car events like this.
And I get it. Car shows can be boring. I'm a massive car guy. But when you go around and you've been to your 6th or 7th car show for the year or something like that, and it's a bunch of guys sitting outside their one of 3 Corvettes in that color yellow, and you know, the same guys you've seen at like the 3 previous car shows, that's boring. And so honestly, there's one thing too, is I would like to see more car shows and events that are set up responsibly, but still fun and doing something different.
Oh yeah, and this
You know?
really requires, I mean, it's funny. One of the things that was talked about in another video, I can't remember the guy's name, was bring back gatekeeping, because this is a perfect example of, and honestly, a better example than that is drones. You know, drones came out, woo, so fun, let's fly to airports, let's get them to where you have to register it all. Let's get all this stuff going with this track.
Yeah,
It's, you know,
I'm gonna fly my drone over a tarmac while airplanes are taking
yeah,
off.
let's fly into a military base.
Stuff like that literally happened, and that's why we.
Oh,
have...
that's why
Yeah.
all this chaos. That's why you have to go to the same place they train pilots who fly aircraft to fly a drone, because there are too many people that ruined it.
Some people are just dumb.
They are, and unfortunately, like, unless, I mean, one of the ways to prevent this, obviously drones is different, but with cars, because typically with people with cars want to show off to other people, there's the element where, hey, if someone's causing trouble, you're out. You're out.
It's like the squatted truck stuff. I never got the squatted truck trend anyway, but they literally became such a problem that there are now laws to where you cannot have your truck squatted beyond a certain degree per state. But those are the kind of things that we're talking about, where it's like, if you're just irresponsible, do things stupid, and it's done enough, there will be some sort of law or thing that makes it ruined for all of us who want to do it the right way.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I don't like squatted trucks, but I don't think that, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think you should be prevented from doing that, because also there was some funny statistics that technically they're not any less or any more unsafe than other
Really?
drivers. Actually, there were. That it was
Interesting.
just kind of one of those things that, yeah, they're basically about the same, other than the headlights just point right at you.
It'll ruin your engine.
It'll ruin a lot of things, but technically they're not any worse than any other vehicles. But it's like this. I don't agree with the stance of every, respect all builds.
Yeah,
but
stance.
the stance actually. But if you enjoy your car, even if I don't like it, then it doesn't matter what I think.
See, I actually disagree. I think we should respect all builds.
Mm-hmm.
Except the stupid ones.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Boom. Problem solved.
All right, so we really want to open this up to you guys too. Seriously, tell us in the comments and everything, like, what do you think would fix the expensive car problem, the boring car problem, and bring back car culture that we would all be able to enjoy? I will say this, I think we are on the budding edge of another massive car culture boom, and we'll see how that plays out. Hear my reasoning on that, though, right? The height of car culture, in a way, was the 60s and 70s. Maybe you could even include the 50s a little bit. But in the 60s and 70s, you had a lot of the coolest cars and just mass droves of cool car models coming out of manufacturers. Almost everything that came out, like the Chevelle, we think as a legend. It's so cool, right? But the Chevelle that we think is cool and a legend was only a small percentage of what they actually made of Chevelles. Like, it was the Malibu. Like, in general, it was a four-door, boring car, but then they had the Chevelle as an option, and that was cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if we took the Malibu that we had just a few years ago, and there was a cool option. The Malibu would still probably be a legendary vehicle. My point in that is, we don't even have the platforms anymore to make cool cars, you know? Because, again, back then you had a lot of platforms, and again, they were more moldable because we're talking rear-wheel drive, bigger engine bays in general. You don't have to add in so many features like air conditioning and, even...
Which simply safety features, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so it was a lot more of a clean slate. It was a lot more of a clean slate to be able to make a cooler car option, but people were buying them back then. Almost everybody back in the 60s and 70s was a car person to some degree, or at least wanted to keep up with the Joneses and having a cool car. I think that we could be on that returning, actually, because I see a lot of, I don't know, when I was growing up 20 years ago, and I was, not even born yet. No. When I was growing up 20 years ago, there were like almost no car people, in my opinion. Maybe it's just my perspective, but I feel like you're seeing a lot more of modification culture coming back and people wanting to buy and do cool car stuff. It's in the wrong way a lot of times.
I would just agree with you on that point. Obviously, I wasn't around at that point 20 years ago to experience car culture. It was underground, because without the existence of social media, here's the thing. I mean, I guess it's a weird world to think about, where unless you know a guy, you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And most meets, I mean, heck, if you consider, let's say you only have home phones or stuff like that. I mean, I know it's not that ancient. Obviously, cell phones existed for a while. But with all these limitations, information is not easily spread. It's very close-knit. And I would almost say that while the 70s had, like, I'd say the most diverse amount of cars, the early 2000s, especially when you have, all the classics coming out in the 90s, was the best time, because you didn't have basically the incentive, like you have today, of clout chasers who want the attention. That was not even a factor in car, just how you modified your car.
Yeah,
because there's okay, yeah, stance culture is kind of one of those things. It's like, yeah, man, like, if you can't go over a half-inch gap, like...
If you ain't rubbing your exhaust on the ground, what are you doing?
That is one of those things that I'm like, okay, man, like, now it's not even hardly practical.
Yeah.
But it does get attention.
It's funny watching stance guys try to go over speed bumps.
Dude, it's like, oh my gosh, your car, it's just like, you need some, like, get some at least air shocks or something. But... the thing is that element was completely removed, and that's why it gives the opinion that there was no, car culture. But now because of social media and because of how everything turns out, the biggest losers get the most attention. And that's what's tarnished it. It makes it worse because all the boomers and people see like, oh, look at these, fast racers in these, coupes and sedans. And then we're here where we are today, where there's not really a lot of cool cars, and the ones that are there are very expensive. So I'm hopeful. I know obviously I take it from sort of the financial aspect of, there's certain things I believe that need to be changed to allow for, let's say, the return of compacts, stuff like that. And I'm not saying I'm not necessarily optimistic about it, but I am hopeful that things will change and bring back car culture in a more meaningful way, because it has sort of been leaning in certain circles that I'm part of, where you go to a car meet and it's like, here's my Camry with aftermarket wheels, and here's my Honda Fit with a spoiler.
Legit?
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's
no engine mods or anything.
Oh, sometimes it's just cosmetic. It's just, and like, here's the thing, like, I'm not hating against the culture, but as far as that true, like, modification stuff like that, you're not seeing that, and I think a large part of that is just because of the platforms you have, and also just money's a little tighter right now.
All right. Well, I think you got anything else on our main topic?
I think I'm good. I actually wanted to talk about for NoPlan in particular. I want to go over some comments that people had on the Intel B580. I thought that'd be kind of fun because this also reminded me, we completely forgot about a comment the Techspert had asked about Apple's and AI intelligence. If we thought that it was, I think it was either going to make a comeback or if it was like a failure. And I think it's a failure. I've not used it very much, but I've had friends who were trying to really get into it. Did not work.
Well, yeah, so moving on to our NoPlan update segment, we're talking about this short that we put out a little while ago, where we're talking about getting the B580 and what we're wanting to do with it. As you saw earlier in the stream, it is not the most stable thing to have in your computer at the moment. Now, granted, we're doing our testing with the B580 on a much newer kernel. We're using Fedora. We can get a lot more the newer drivers and everything for the B580 to have its best chance of success. And we are currently running Ubuntu 24.04 on here, which is an older kernel and doesn't have everything that you need for this to actually run properly. So, with that in mind, we're still having problems with the newer kernel, and it's still having like not great results. Even artifacting on the UI itself, just doing weird things with all the proper software and everything.
Everything as good can be, because I do think they're definitely preferring Windows support over Linux, because even when it was recognized, it thought it was an internal, or what is it? Not internal GPU. Integrated GPU. But what is it? Vincent Megahertz has tested on DaVinci Resolve editing rendering. We actually have tried it on DaVinci. Unfortunately, so far, it's not being recognized. Yeah, so DaVinci Resolve on Linux, it is not wanting to work with it. And I've seen only one video where a guy actually did get it. It was an A770. It was a previous generation. Does actually seem to work with Resolve, but that's the older generation card. Yeah, so still waiting on that. It's a little bit disappointing.
The thing that does kind of suck with the way that Linux often will do things is everything gets baked into the kernel for drivers and stuff like that. And you can do custom patches and do all this stuff, but I don't want to do that. No actual general computer user wants to do that. So it's going to be another 4 to 6 months or so before this probably would work with Resolve. And even there, we don't even know if it will fully work as well as an NVIDIA or an AMD card will.
Oh yeah, they've got a little bit to go, but
we are going to test it on Windows as well, and we'll see if Resolve will work with that.
Yeah. Oh, I like this guy's suggestion. What about just
this one here?
Yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah. So
I hate that they changed it to where it's not the display name; it's the username now. Which makes no sense. Bad on you, YouTube.
I'm not reading that name. He says, I don't know, but what about, and this is just a wild idea, install it in a PC and use it. So I like the way it looks on a desk. So we've got this nice little stand for it. And I don't know, Jack. I think we ought to
I think we're just going to keep it here. This 3D printed stand really, it really catches dust really well.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to keep it.
Yeah. So honestly, just put it in a PC and use it. I think that's giving
Dislike his comment.
That's giving an Intel Arc card too much credit. And let me see. We got somebody wanting Minecraft 512 by 512 shader pack.
Interesting.
That would be really cool. So I've actually heard some good things about the Arc cards, even on Linux and everything, with their like OpenGL support and everything like that. So I do want to put it to some tests with some gaming, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Speaking of gaming, Hell's Divers in 2 and 4K.
Yeah, and JJ
International, burn it.
International. Yeah, burn it. Nah, I spent too much money on it for that. Whoops. What was the video? I didn't even see
it was just some tip. I was trying to see if there was someone else we missed, but I just thought, yeah, I thought JJ International, he had a good idea. Whenever we're getting upset with the drivers, that's what it feels like. But otherwise, it's like, no, we want to have it burn some heat because this would be really cool because this has, what, 16 gigs of VRAM?
Oh, trust me, I am full. Like, I want to see Intel do very well. And yes, it is 16 gigs of VRAM. I mean, this is a $300 card with 16 gigs of VRAM. We're looking at getting Jack a new GPU for video editing. And of course, just because of the way things are right now, we're going to have to go NVIDIA. It is an $800 card for 16 gigs of VRAM.
Yeah.
You know, 2.5 times the amount. And it's like, I would love to see Intel do better and better. I think we're going to see better support as time goes on. This is one thing too. It doesn't even matter about the drivers and stuff like on Linux and everything. It doesn't even matter as much. But GPUs are a weird space, you know. We still have to see support for Intel's GPU technologies in the software that we're using. Now, if it's open things like OpenCL, OpenGL, it's better and better. But I don't know. I think it's just going to be some time for Intel Arc to really get a foothold in the market for other people to really try to support Intel Arc cards.
Yeah, and I think especially on the talking about Linux support side, that might take a little bit longer because one of the things is they have sort of been filling a weird niche of new GPU, not too expensive, but you can play modern games on it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy, actually.
We got a great comment I just want to highlight from Carlos. I just came to say great work. I found you by the System 76 videos. Great content. Thank you so much, Carlos. That means a lot.
Yes, and I don't know, are we doing anything with System 76 in the future?
Well, I have been talking with System 76. They just released a all-new laptop, and we're hoping to get our hands on it. It would be the first System 76 that we've tested with an NVIDIA GPU.
Oh, okay.
And hopefully, if we can make that happen, we can get ourselves a review unit. We definitely want to play with that and test it because everything has so far has been the Pangolin and then my Theliomira desktop.
And your keyboard as well.
And my keyboard.
Have all been fantastic. The only thing with the Pangolin was the AMD GPU or integrated GPU, which had some issues with Resolve.
Yes. So I would be very excited to see what we'd see out of that machine, especially if it can be running the new Cosmic desktop environment. I have not played with it very much. It's very beta still, so I'm very much like wait until it's stable kind of guy.
Yeah, so, understandable.
Yeah, so we'll see how the Cosmic desktop environment is and everything as well. If you guys have any special requests for reviews or any products that you want to see us take a look at, we definitely are down for reaching out to some of these brands and letting them know that we've got people interested. So just definitely let us know in the comments. But again, thank you for that comment, Carlos. All right, so the next thing that we were working on with NoPlan is the Ultimate Geek Desk. A little bit of an update on that. I am still working on that build. It's coming along great. I've got most of the frame done, and I've still just got to put a couple more pieces of wood together before I start doing all the electronics and actually wiring everything up, setting up the smart lighting and things like that. So I'm super excited for that build. I'm especially super excited to have it done because then I can actually use it. I'm actually going to be using this thing. It's definitely not just for videos. So yeah, I'm super excited about that project, and I can't wait to get it out to you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm really interested to see how it turns out. I didn't know you were so handy. I thought you was only in Linux. Not that Linux is too handy. Speaking of What a superior operating system. We have Winboat.
Yeah, so our app suggestion of the week. And again, if you guys have app suggestions or channel shout out suggestions, definitely let us know. We love to be able to highlight awesome applications and awesome small YouTubers. So let us know who you would like us to check out. But our app suggestion of the week is Winboat. Winboat is a pretty new project that is really, really cool to me. So this is allowing you to run Windows apps in a very different way than what a lot of us Linux users are used to with the likes of Wine. Of course, Wine is a great tool, and it also is the entire backend basically for Proton's compatibility with SteamOS.
Wine is great because you have all the people whining it's not an emulator.
It's not an emulator. But what this does is it actually sets up, in long story short, it uses WinApps as kind of the background technology. And it allows you to run Windows in a virtualized Docker container, and then it allows you to output the individual Windows, not the whole thing, but the individual applications can be brought into the Linux desktop environment via FreeRDP. And it really makes it to where it feels like these applications are native. Very, very close. And then it even allows you to mount your file systems between the Windows VM or Docker container and Linux, meaning that you can use these applications and then save directly to your Linux thing. And what's so amazing about this is it's going to mean that they're, especially with like Windows 10 being EOL and everything, this means that a lot of people who were going to switch, but there's that one application, it's a very common thing. And I get it. There's a lot of times just that one application that you just have to have, otherwise you would switch. This helps alleviate it. And I am testing it a lot right now. I'm super excited for it. There's a lot of cool beta features as well. It does not currently have GPU pass-through, but that is beta.
That's pretty cool.
Once you have GPU pass-through and you're able to get near native performance with these applications, Fusion 360, Photoshop, Premiere, all those things can be ran within this container, and it's going to be a pretty smooth. Again, it's still in beta. It's going to take some time to grow, but it's a really cool way to get that one or two applications that you would switch to Linux, but you can't because you have that one or two applications. I'm excited for this. I'm very, very excited for Winboat.
I'm interested to see how it turns out.
Yeah.
As far as the channel shout out.
Yes, so moving on to our channel shout out, you can see him down on the bottom.
We had him up the whole time.
Yes, Evan
Monsma. It's a guy I discovered a while back. It's hard to sort of describe his videos because they're almost like each one is kind of like a, it's not an art piece, I would say. That's a little too corny. But as he's making his videos, you could tell there's a lot of soul put behind them. He has kind of a rough style. One of the things I caught up on him was his Hyundai Tucson. He had a Hyundai Tucson that was his first car. He's trying to keep it alive. And it seems so ridiculous to me because it's like it's a Hyundai. Also, I'm not a big Hyundai guy. And he was trying, even though like the engine was dead, all these things were wrong with it, he was trying to keep it alive. And his style, the way he shot things, the way he narrated, he's a very good storyteller, really caught on to it. And he's also got interesting videos regarding to filmmaking.
Yeah, it's a super cool channel. I've actually seen a couple of his videos. Specifically, the one most recent that I watched was he took an Insta360 and made it use like cinema lenses. It was super cool. No, it was a Fujifilm zoom lens. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Super cool video. But what's really cool about his style and everything too, it almost feels like a real steampunk in a way.
Well, it's very budget oriented. Like everything on here is budget, but it's like cool budget.
Yeah, but like it's more the idea. Well, maybe more like a Blade Runner or Fallout or something like that, where it's like the idea of having future, like it's still current tech being used for current purposes and reasons, but it's all been like mashed together and
it's
DIY.
using it for different purposes and rearranging stuff that was never meant to be together.
Yeah.
It's and his style all puts it together, and it's a very interesting channel. I like a lot of his stuff. Like, hey, look at that, powering a camera with a 20-volt tool battery. Like, that's pretty cool.
That is super cool.
Stuff like that, I think you might enjoy a lot.
Yeah, so Evan Monsma, awesome channel. Great suggestion, Jack.
Thank you very much.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Do we have any other comments? Drop the link, looks dope. Awesome. Oh, I think he's talking about Windboat, actually.
Yeah.
Here you go, Carlos. And there's Windboat. Definitely check it out. Amazing app. But we appreciate you guys watching. Sorry about that hiccup. We have learned to take out the Intel Arc.
Intel Arc is not ready for streaming.
Is not ready. But maybe it will be in a few months. We'll see. But no, we really appreciate you guys watching. We love doing this show. And if you have any other suggestions for main topics you'd like to see us cover, any interesting news, always be commenting. Always let us know. And yeah.
Catch you next time.
See you in the next one. Inslate.